Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is entitled At Your Door. It was written by Ellen Eisenwill, Mark Morrison, Barbara Manoui, Chris Adams, Scott D. Anielowski, and Herbert Height. I'm your game master, and this is episode 18. Our recap will be done by Morgan Llewellyn as his character, Dr. Margaret Evans. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Morgan?
Dear Mr. Jadick, I must say that these last couple of weeks have been rather trying for me and have ended in what I would deem an unsatisfactory manner. It seems like everybody says that the person who is keeping me and my associates hostage for the last 2.5 weeks is now considered the victim in the whole situation. And if I could take those reporters and they could sit in that cage and listen as that monster pulled Chuck apart for its experiment. They could be there when her strange associates kept bringing her more and more horrible things for her to test. And just her casual manner at that horrific monstrosity that destroyed Don Biozyme that seems to have Dr. Flores so fascinated. She's not the victim. No, she wanted all that to happen. She encouraged it to happen, and I'm sure she would be happy to force it on the world. Just so unacceptable. But at least we're out, and we can go up to Canada to put a stop to this once and for all.
All right. Cool.
And not so much to recap. Got out of the cave.
Hey, Brian. All right. So let's say you're still in San Damiel. Your flight leaves tomorrow. And let's give the date as the current date is August 27th. Okay. What would you guys like to do in preparation?
I was going to go to the library and check out the Wall Street Journal and other business papers and do some research on the New World Industries and that's about it. And on the city of Toronto. Never been there. So.
Okay. There is actually a whole section in here just on things about Toronto. But I didn't figure anybody would ask. So.
Most likely where the business park is and all to find where we believe they're working out of.
Okay. Well, the first thing that you come to realize is that New World Industries is a privately owned company. That they are in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and that most of what they're doing is not publicized. A couple of institutions have covertly tried to calculate it. They think they're probably a $6 billion company easily. Lars Pharmaceuticals is about a $2.5 billion company. That is, of course, publicly traded. Larson Pharmaceuticals, not Lars. Larson Pharmaceuticals is publicly traded. A little more than half is owned by NWI. So they have the controlling stock.
Right.
The rest of it is publicly traded. Toronto is nice. They're having a heat wave. What sort of stuff did you want to look at about Toronto? I mean, I've got just Toronto stuff.
I was mostly looking to, hey, where we believe the business park is. Do they have a science park? Because since we think we're going to investigate where the scientists went to.
Well, there's it's a regular city. It's on Lake Ontario. There's a park, there's a museum, University of Toronto. What you'd expect from any major city.
Okay.
I wanted to see if I could look up if there's been a decrease in the homeless population.
Well, you find articles, but you can't really discern one way or the other whether there really is or not, or whether it's just speculation. There definitely seems to be one in San Damiel.
You were looking at homeless decreases in Toronto, Dr. Carlisle?
Yeah, I was looking to see
okay.
if the homeless population decreased in Toronto in the last 2 months or so.
Well, we haven't been there yet, so.
No, but we're doing research. Oh, yeah.
Haven't released anything in the
Give it a couple days. We'll be on it.
I mean, there's it fluctuates up and down, and of course, it's a big city, so you're going to find all of the missing persons that you want to find in a major city. You don't know if they have any relationship to anything that's going on.
Right.
Do you remember why you're going up there?
That's where that doctor went to that Dr. Flores pressed really hard when we were at the Don Biosine.
Finlay. And also, what's the name of the company that he was sending mother's milk to?
It was New World Industries, wasn't it? Or was it a
I
more
thought there was some other thing that had a Frenchy name. But I could be...
Rothmersham. Rothmersham
is we specifically know is here, right?
Yeah, and that was located in Toronto.
Right.
and that is controlling interest owned by New World Industries, right?
That one is owned mostly by it's owned by Larson Pharmaceuticals.
So it's owned by Larson. Larson's run by NWI. None of us have particularly impressive computer skills, I'm afraid, to see if there's anything on the nascent internet about.
I've got some.
Because there is, DARPA's up and running, and has their public, email addresses available, and this printout from New World Industries suggests that they have some kind of online presence. So maybe while we were recuperating, you could look into that.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
All right. What you would find in that case is you have to have a private connection in order to get into New World Industries. But Don Biosine was definitely connected. And who knows what other groups are also connected into that. You find some information on Rothmersham.
All shares are privately held by scientist entrepreneur Dr. Lars Rothmersham and his silent partner Larson Pharmaceuticals. Rothschild Limited is known for its research, development, and production of antipsychotic and mood-stabilizing drugs, and for analogic remedies similar to buspirone and which relieve anxiety with reduced physical side effect. The company had gross receipts of 68 million Canadian dollars in the previous year, an amount expected to grow by about 20% this year. Profits are unknown but potentially substantial. A financial connection with Larson Pharmaceuticals appears to be straightforward. Term notes in exchange for first option development rights and lowered royalties on specified research products if successful. The corporate director is Dr. Lars Rothersham. Facility director is Magnus Glansundy, and research director Dr. Bryce Codchill.
Wow, 68 million Canadian. That's a couple $100 US.
Oh.
But I mean, 20%.
I'm kidding.
It's huge.
And other than obviously Lars Rothmersham, one of those names on there, Dr. Codchill,
Was in contact with Lindsay. Yeah. Very cordially.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any public background on any of the three? Glen Sandy, Rothmersham, or Codchill?
Well, nothing that I have for you, but there's probably information on Lars Rothmersham, especially. Dr. Codchill is director of research, so he's probably just got some college, university background and stuff like that.
Right.
So anything else you wanted?
Has Full Wilderness been in touch with Rothmersham Company about our coming visit? We don't have, I guess, the purchasing power that we had at Dawn Biozyme, where we can say we're inspecting it for corporate whatever. Do we have a PR flag who's covering why we want to talk to them?
Well, let's say that's what you would like to do. You get a report. Okay, Roger Slakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, here's the deal. I've got you a tour of Rothmersham, similar to your tour. That'll be the day after you arrive. And they weren't exactly forthcoming when we mentioned, full wilderness. That kind of bent their arm a little bit. I spoke with Dr. Codchill about it. He was reluctant at first, but he's finally agreed. He said he probably won't be available, but he will have the facility director show you around.
That's Magnus?
That's, yes,
That's good.
Magnus.
This Dr. Rothersham, is he a Canadian national or is he?
I don't actually know Lars. With a name like Lars, he's probably Scandinavian.
Okay.
So, anything else you want to do before your trip tomorrow morning?
What are the gun laws like in Canada in 1991?
I don't know.
More lax than they are now.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
I wonder if they sell to foreigners or not. We could figure that out later.
Is there any guys that we could go up as a hunting party, or would we want to do some recreational hunting while we're up there and put in for some type of temporary?
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out a way that you can obtain weapons
Correct.
without.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I think a moose would fit really well in my, like a moose head would fit really well in my office wall.
Take up half your office, but
I mean,
That's what the moose is probably thinking about a human being too.
pretty close.
Have any of you ever actually seen a moose up close? I mean,
huge.
it's the largest of all the deer family.
Yeah,
Huge.
the first time I saw one in Colorado, I was duly intimidated.
I was told if you're ever walking up in the woods and you meet one, you just run for your life in the other direction and hope it doesn't wander in your direction because they're extremely aggressive.
It's the one animal that you want to run into when you're driving like a Prius or something, because then you'll just go under it.
All right. So let's see.
One last thing. Now that we know about some books, is there like a copy of like the Vermis Mysteries that's like an English translation?
Probably not anywhere nearby.
Okay.
Miskatonic University might have one. It would be in their restricted section. The Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris probably has one, but maybe even in French. But yeah, it's not something that you can get your hands on very easily.
Granted, French might be easier to translate than Latin.
Right, but we don't have the time to go
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. And Heather and I are still working on it. There's been some progress.
Yeah.
Has there been any progress? Should I roll for any progress on the passage that struck me as spell looking?
Not yet. It's only been a few hours.
Well, it's been 2 weeks. But,
I guess it has been 2 weeks.
but a lot of that was just margaritas and good food.
And being in wide open space.
That's right.
And showering a lot.
Wait, did any of us come down with a case of agoraphobia?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead then. If you want a gun, do a luck roll. And if you pass, then you've managed to put the paperwork and everything into order so that you'll have it with you and be able to take it with you. Because I don't know the answer.
Tom, being that Ethan has always been a pacifist, remember, he really wouldn't use guns. Would he be able to, since he's also a doctor, would he be able to put in or even travel with his tranquilizer rifle?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a medical equipment. I'm sure he could, especially with Don Biozyne, would probably be able to fast track the paperwork for that.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. You can't carry it in the airplane with you.
No, it would be stored in luggage. That's the only thing that I would want anyway. I'm not applying for a gun.
Well, I'm not sure that that's restricted anyway, but customs when you get there, yeah, I think that would be reasonable that you could do that.
That's the only thing that I would want. I would, besides clothing and the such. That's the only thing I would request to bring.
Yeah, you can still bring any equipment that you might need.
In fact, I want to have a rifle and a handgun version of it.
All right. Well, do this. Just do a luck roll for the handgun.
Okay.
Because I think rifles you would be able to get away with without any trouble.
57 out of 62. Yeah, just.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, being that I'm a doctor of veterinary science, I assume it would be considered equipment and not even a firearm per se.
It would still have to be registered and everything.
Registered? All right.
Yeah.
If not, I just figured to have an extra one to give to somebody in the group if we do run into danger. That's my thinking.
Okay.
I definitely am averse to entering caves unarmed in the future, but I'm going to wait until I'm not going to try to fly with anything, so I will do a luck roll once we've...
Okay.
We're going to want other equipment when we're there anyway, I'm sure. We'll be buying some more black gloves and nitrile gloves and eye protection and
bear spray.
Other hopeful things.
That's right.
Lots and lots of bear spray.
Let's see. You will be staying at the Sutton Palace Hotel, which is an excellent hotel.
Ooh.
It's at 955 Bay Street in Toronto. It's a 33-floor high building. It's got 208 guest rooms, 72 luxury suites, a fitness center, a beauty salon, gift and news shops, ballrooms, conference centers, lounges. It's a big hotel. It's and an award-winning restaurant.
What's the restaurant called?
Award winner.
Oh,
Wow.
they're hopeful.
They're just call it as they see it. Same type of person who named their kid champion.
That's right. All right. Yeah.
All right. So anything else this evening before you leave? Any other research you want to do?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. So the next morning comes and your shuttle takes you off to the San Daniel Airport, which I think I had a name for it, but I'm not going to try to look it up. You fly out. You end up in the Ontario Airport, which then you have to get a shuttle to your hotel room, which is pretty expensive, and the temperature up there is stifling. It's very hot, and nobody has air conditioning in their cars. So the trip to your hotel is really uncomfortable.
Oh. Great. Hopefully the hotel's got air conditioning.
I'm glad I
yeah.
wore my cheap clothes.
You arrive, and everything is put in order. There is a note at the desk for you that tells you that you're scheduled for a tour of Rothmersham Limited at 2 p.m. The following day. It is only about 12:30 in the afternoon at this point. But as you get off the airplane and you're walking, as you're walking into your hotel, everybody do a spot hidden.
14. I can see anything.
91. I walked into the glass door.
98. I walked into the steel frame of the glass door.
I successfully observe people walking into things.
Yeah, that's what I said. I did. Like, ooh.
Well, David, you happen to notice a newspaper, the Toronto Star, and you read this on the front cover.
Okay, hot and sunny, high 32C. We're going to have to do a lot of translation.
That's hot.
Police baffled by Toronto Ripper. Third body found. The mutilated body of Russell Simmons, age 20, or Simons, age 25, was discovered early this morning in Toronto on Dundas Street near Spadina. The body had been badly slashed and partially disemboweled. This third brutal Chinatown murder has left baffled police without clues. The previous victims of the Toronto Ripper, Nathaniel Moore and Brian Lombardo, were also found in the Chinatown area in a similar state. Authorities speculate that the murderer frequents the area or may live there. Police warn against walking the streets alone after dark, but they also assure residents and merchants in the area that auto and foot patrols have been greatly increased. They state that there is cause for concern, but not for alarm. Police urge anyone with pertinent information to please come forward.
And we just barely arrived in Canada and people are already dying.
Yeah.
Let's pick up a couple copies of this. And let's find out where the local Sasquatch Watch is centered.
Yeah.
They'll surely be helpful.
You never know. They might actually have some information there.
Offhanded, you don't find any information on the Sasquatch Watch.
No Toronto chapter for the Sasquatch Watch.
Okay.
It's too
That's
cold
a
up there for the Sasquatch. This
Yeah.
is
Not
Yeti,
currently.
this is Yeti
Toasty.
territory.
What about the rare Arctic Squatch?
The albino squatch.
An organization called the Yeti Gazette.
Oh, somebody's listening to this and they do that.
Yeah.
Dibs.
All right. Huh.
Okay,
Well,
so you
Settle in.
settle in.
Shower after the terrible shuttle ride.
Mm.
The place, the Sutton Palace seems to have everything. Is there a lounge that is a natural place for us to meet up?
Yeah, there's a lounge upstairs with a nice view of the city.
Okay.
So it's the 28th. We have about 26 hours. And we should probably all go to Chinatown.
Yeah, we go get some food and just check this place out.
We shouldn't really go to Chinatown.
Oh, I was all
That's what
for
I'm
it.
saying. All the male members of the group should walk separately in Chinatown tonight.
Yeah.
Lots of bear spray.
Reading the complete article, they don't describe the mutilation any more thoroughly than slashed and entrails removed.
Correct. However, you also find another article
Hearts are cut out. Brains.
Nothing like that is said.
I would imagine that the newspapers wouldn't get too graphic.
Yeah, they don't give you much. Actually, I don't have anything at the moment. Okay. You find references to the other things, the other murders. Of course, they didn't realize that there was a trend until the third one.
Right.
And something was going on. Downtown Toronto is actually quite nice. There's parks, there's museum, there's libraries, everything you'd expect from a large metropolitan area. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of fine dining, all different ethnicities, Chinese, as well as everything else you can think of.
Right.
So it's your choice.
Are we set up with rental vehicles again? Or are we going to be, because the mass transit actually is quite good there, or at least it is now. I don't know about 40 years ago.
I'll tell you what, that's up to you. If you want to use the mass transit, you can do that. If you want to.
I'd rather have a rental car and not need it than not have it and need it.
Exactly.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm not sure that trains are 24 hours or anything either.
You rent a vehicle and you just put it on the full wilderness tab.
And we'll have two again, right? Because the assistants are all with us.
Did you bring the assistants with you? Or are you going to leave them back working?
Oh, that's something it's surprising we didn't discuss. Now that we've all bonded over atrocities, mutilation.
Everybody except Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jack.
I'd say yes.
Do we want to give them busy work here or busy work in San Daniel if we're going to be playing as, truly separate groups? I guess is the question.
There is still stuff to go over. They're still working on tests and
Yeah.
it's up to you.
Did we find out whether it was because of our assistance that they finally found us in Jenny's damned cave?
Yeah, pretty much. Because they contacted the police, and the police then realized that you'd never left.
Well, what we did agree already was that we were going to be sharing our itineraries very closely with them.
Yes.
That we wouldn't have any of these big lapses. So maybe we should leave them in California and just acknowledge that before we venture out or do anything, we're updating them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, the expense of flying them also.
Yeah. And per diem. So, okay. I want to see. I was wanting to go by the library. I was wanting to look up the obituaries on these other two guys. See if there's a trend. Hey, were these people that happen to maybe work for the same company, or are they, but all university students, or were they just random people that just happen to be in that neighborhood, which is what I suspect. But
okay.
I wouldn't mind doing a drive-by at Rothmer's home in advance, too, just to get a lay of the land before we go for our big tour. Get a sense of the neighborhood, too, and all that. Mm-hmm. Parking nearby abandoned areas that will allow us to put ladders up.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking out for hardware stores.
Okay, well, there's lots of hardware stores. And
awesome.
And when you drive by Rothmersham, Rothmersham is just a fairly plain-looking brick building with the word Rothmersham on the side of it. It doesn't have a wall around it or anything. It looks just like a medical building.
It doesn't have like a giant warehouse on campus or
no. Looks like what you'd expect from like a medical research building.
And they made a decent amount of money last year. I'd like to do a little research on the products that they've already brought to market.
Okay. Well, I don't have any specifics. However, they have brought together antipsychotics, very successful ones, in fact. Their biggest products are was it? It's that hard to pronounce word. Anti-anxiety medication.
Anxiolytics.
Anxiolytics. There you go.
Chill pills.
Yeah, quite a few varieties, and they're constantly working on them and expanding. They seem to be highly successful pharmaceuticals and very popular with the medical community.
Boy, it's a pity we don't have more leverage over their lab, because I really want to see what they're doing with mother's milk that doesn't make it turn into brain-eating monsters, or what their test subjects are receiving that doesn't make them into 4-hour giants.
Well, they're obviously not going for the ultra high temperature, short time pasteurization technique.
Or maybe they are. Maybe they just cure anxiety by eating everybody's brains.
That would calm me down.
Maybe.
No brain, no problem.
What if you milk the brain creature?
Huh.
What if you?
So many experiments we could do.
If we still had
Yeah.
substance. But that is something to think about, though. I mean, if they're trying to make antidepressants, the anti-anxiety things, what components of that milk would help them do that?
Yeah. What I remember from the paperwork we saw at the lab before the unfortunate explosion and fire, Kajal was specifically talking about it showing promise for mental illness. But they must be breaking it down into some compounds that are very different than what we've interacted with.
Or isolating certain ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the whole, it seems to act very hormonal. We saw what it did with Jenny.
Yeah.
HGH on steroids.
And I wouldn't call her relaxed exactly either.
That's true.
Well, also having a best friend die probably wasn't good for her mental state to begin with. Who knows? She might have been more relaxed in that state than she was naturally. We don't have a good baseline for the psychoanalysis.
It's true.
Okay. How long's Finley been up here? About a couple weeks?
Oh, no, it's been over a month at this point.
Over a month.
No, actually, let's see. Think about that for a second. After Don Biazyme, you didn't immediately go out to find Jenny, did you?
No,
not immediately.
So it's been maybe a month and a half, maybe almost 2 months.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just wondering if that's long enough for him to get listed in a phone book or something with his address. That's what I was wondering. Like a couple weeks probably wouldn't be.
I think you might be hiding. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It wouldn't hurt to look anyway. I mean, quick flip through the page. But yeah, I agree. He's probably hiding, but give it a shot.
Yeah, we can look for his wife's name too.
Yeah,
that's right.
Obvious pseudonyms.
All right.
Smith.
Yeah, Biazyme blew up. Oh, I don't have a date. Never mind.
Well, we were captured on August 9th by Jenny.
Right, we were watching the dates.
That was the new moon was August 9th, and that's when we went out there.
We made the plaster cast, or the plaster cast was made on the 21st. So it probably was a few days before that Biazyme flamed up.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you also mentioned going to the library.
Yep.
And what were you going to do there? You were going to...
I wanted to look up Moore's and Lombardo's obituaries. I'm looking to see, hey, were they people that lived there? Did they just happen to be there? Did they usually
Okay.
obituaries list their jobs, looking for similarities.
So do a 1d4 for me.
4.
Okay. So you do 4 hours of research,
Damn.
and by the end of your 4 hours, this is pretty much what you've come up with.
All right. Okay. Details concerning the Toronto Ripper disclosed to the newspaper. The first victim was Nathaniel Moore, age 46, of New York, a laborer for the City of Toronto's water department. On the day of the murder, Moore had been working on a portion of a leaking sewer at the Royal Ontario Museum. At 5 p.m., Moore called from the museum to his supervisor, indicated that the repairs were not totally complete, but that he was leaving for the day. That was the last Moore was heard from. The second victim was a Brian Lombardo, age 17, of the City of Toronto, a high school student. Lombardo's mother stated that Brian left home at about 6:30 p.m. to attend a swim meet at the University of Toronto. He never arrived. The third victim was Russell Simons, age 25, a student at the University of Toronto. He was last seen 5 days before his body was discovered at 8:30 p.m. at the University Library. Common to all Ripper cases, all of the victims were savagely slashed numerous times with a sharp object. Areas proximate to the body showed no signs of blood or struggle. The police know that several potential witnesses exist and hope that they will come forward.
I wonder how the police know there were several witnesses.
I thought that was a curious note as well.
And the sewer has water, swimming water. They didn't specify the third, but it said found in the library. Being found doesn't mean where he might have been before that. So there might be a water commonality.
Well, he was last seen at the University Library.
Didn't it say the body was found at the library?
I don't believe so.
No, I thought it said found, but the one thing is the bodies, they weren't killed wherever they were. They were
Right, they're all
dumped.
dropped, yeah.
Right. So there could be a water could be the link.
You could interpret it that way, Jason. It says he was last seen 5 days before his body was discovered at 8:30 p.m. at the University Library.
Oh, that would not pass muster with some editors I know.
Big guess.
Yeah, he was last seen 5 days before his body was discovered at 8:30 p.m. at the University Library.
Yeah, the commas. Where are the commas?
And so the dates, he might have been killed first. I mean, he wasn't seen for 5 days. That seems extreme for a college student.
That may be what it's saying, yeah.
Okay.
I think the sewer people is a MacGuffin, or not a red herring.
Yeah. So how close is the museum to the university?
Ice cream delivered.
University is, let's see, there's Queen's Park. On one side, there's the university. Map.
Well, the sewers, if the swimming pool, the college swim, if there's multiple pools, they have to have a big filtration system and drainage system that might connect.
So to answer your question, Queen's Park sits in the middle. The government building, the Parliament building, is on the south end. The museum is on the north end, and the university is on the west end.
So
it's literally across the park.
Right. Okay. So the close. Okay.
And how that park is pretty central to downtown Toronto. How far is Chinatown and Dundas Street?
Chinatown is maybe 5-6 blocks south of Dundas Street.
Really close, but if something were killing things in the park, then dropping them 5 or 6 blocks down south, that would cool a trail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we want to go take a look around the park?
So time-wise, we had a quick spin around Rothmersham. We dropped Heather at the library. We looked at things there for half an hour. Heather was like, "Go away,
go away! I'm in my zone."
Maybe we should go and look at the park while Heather's studying.
All right.
Bring me back a falafel.
We're in Canada. We need poutine.
That's more Quebec, but
I still haven't had any poutine. All right, so you go to the park. It's a very nice park. Of course, you have to park your car. You have to park your car at the park to go into the park. It's a fairly big park. Wander around. It's very nice. It's getting towards early evening.
All right, we're getting peckish.
There are people walking around, just enjoying the day. What would you like to do? So you've got museum, Parliament building, and university. And housing in the other direction.
Well, I'm still in the library, so I'm not with you guys.
Well, let's look at the. Well, it's going to depend on where we find parking first.
Okay.
Let's
parking
from
park.
interesting thing in sequence from when we park. Let's look at the museum. Is the museum open? Getting toward dusk, probably not. Although it's August.
It's closed. However, they've got those big banners in the front of the museum. They've got an exhibit going on that's called Fakes, Frauds, Fiction, and something going on.
Okay.
And there's, of course, a lot of students sitting on the steps and reading their books and chit-chatting and kissing and whatever else students do. The Parliament building is just a Parliament building. Government building. University, there might be night classes. I'm not sure. Probably. Go ahead.
Has anybody posted anything around the university about the missing students? One was a high school student. Only one was a university student.
Right.
Right.
It's possible. However, they've got those kiosks that have 100 things all posted on them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, those kids have now been found. So missing people have been found.
Maybe we should go get Heather and get some dinner. I'm not having any brilliant brain flashes.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
If we can drag Heather out of the library. I mean, I like a library, but Jesus, that Heather.
All right. So we'll just say it's about 7 p.m. when you guys all get together. And
what'd you guys see?
It's a nice park.
Oh.
The museum show looks iffy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't find out much else. I should have went, but I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. Well, thoroughness is part of research.
What kind of food would you guys like to eat?
Time for poutine.
Okay.
Right, first night in Canada. Let's get some gravy-covered fries.
You guys find yourselves a nice little pub, let's say over near the university. And you go in there, and it's pretty lively. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some poutine, and you have some nice beverages, and it's a noisy place, lots of noise going on. And you do occasionally hear people chit-chatting a little bit about the Ripper. I mean, it's scary, but most of them are laughing, nervously laughing.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys like to do? Anything in particular, or are we just going to kill this time?
So it's more of a university pub, you'd say, more college students, and
Yeah, definitely lots of college kids.
Well, I'm in my 40s. It'd be hard to pull off, but
You need to get some cigarettes, Heather.
Oh, I always have it now. I'm addicted after that cave, But
what we could do is look for some students that are drinking a little more heavily. They might be a little freer to speak.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's plenty of those.
Can we hear any group that's kind of talking about that?
Jason, do a luck roll.
14.
Okay. Yeah, there's more than one group that's chatting about. I heard that he got eaten by a bear. I hear that there are a bunch of devil worshippers that are doing this. And I hear that it's just a guy pretending to be Jack the Ripper.
There you go.
So you don't hear anything substantial.
Yeah. Is there any group here? Because the one kid was a swimmer. I know he's in high school, but maybe he was competing. Are there any like guys there that obviously have their head shaved or kind of shaved off? Because it's how competitive swimmers usually train most of their body hair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you hear of a couple. You see a couple of swimmers.
All right. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna assume that you can still smoke inside in 1990. So I go over and go, hey, anyone got a light on my? They wouldn't let me bring my lighter on the plane. I obviously got a Southern California accent.
Sure.
Goes,
A couple of the guys like their cigarettes.
It's true what they say about Canadians. You guys are very polite up here, and all. I really appreciate it, guys. Here going to the local university, just doing some scouting for the family.
Oh yeah.
So is it really safe here? I've been hearing some stuff about like a killer going around, and I don't want to be sending my my sister.
Well, we got to apologize for that. Yeah, there's some crazy dude out there, obviously slashing people. But we don't usually have things like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You guys didn't know any of the.
I'm sure they'll catch him.
Well, I hope so. I'm sure they will too. You guys, the Mounties or whatever, will handle it. You guys
No.
didn't.
The Mountie, that's out in the woods. We just got the police here.
See, I'm learning. Thank you. Hey, you guys didn't know any of the victims, did you?
I think we kind of knew who they were, because there's a number of swim teams.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That must have jumped him.
Yeah. Well, since I'm going out and about, is there any place that that they're saying to stay away from? I don't want to, walk into trouble or anything.
I don't know. I think I read in the newspaper that a lot of them have been found near Chinatown.
Yeah, that's bad. That's rough.
Stay out of the Everything gets exaggerated. I mean, there's lots of people go to Chinatown. They got really good Chinese food out there.
Exactly. That's why I was coming to talk to you. You can't trust the media. Sometimes they'll hype it up. They got to sell those papers.
Well, just be careful out there.
I will. I appreciate it. Thanks for the light again.
Sure.
Yeah, excuse myself. Yeah. I didn't know anything. Well,
so maybe we'll get some more insight into whatever is going on after our tour tomorrow, because that seems to be a common trend for us. We go tour somewhere and we find something horrible.
Goes to shit. Yeah.
We have a location in Chinatown where the body was found.
Yeah,
we just have a street.
Yeah, streets. All I saw.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if nothing's going on, maybe we could just swing by there and see if there's a really big sewer grate around there or something. I don't know.
Well, it might still be marked too. I mean, they didn't find the body that long ago. They might still have crime scene stuff up, so it could be obvious where it is. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
So you finish dinner, you hop in your vehicle, and you're gonna head over to Chinatown.
Yeah.
Chinatown is surprisingly well lit. I mean, the main thoroughfare has got neon signs all over the place of dragons and Asian characters, and there's lots of people at restaurants and things like that. Do a spot hidden for me. We'll see who gets the best.
Not me.
Normal success, 24.
45 normal success.
Okay.
This time I do the running into things.
Yeah, I got an 89 also, so I didn't see anything.
So Margaret or Desmond? We'll just do Margaret. Margaret hasn't done much yet. Margaret, as you're walking along with everybody, and you're in Chinatown, out of the corner of your eye, you notice that there is a rather new-looking restaurant with a big, gigantic neon dragon wrapped around the building, and it looks like people of a higher class, are getting out of fancy cars and going inside, and you realize that it's the Black Dragon restaurant.
Hey, everybody, hold up.
What's up?
This restaurant. Hayden was telling me about it. They were opening up one of these in San Damiel.
The Black. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we were looking forward to that opening.
Right, but I mean, given the connection between
the two locations.
Yeah.
Right, and Mrs.
Finley,
sorry. Mrs. Finley being an Asian woman of means. That's interesting.
Right, and she was a chef. And
do you want to get a drink now and look at the place before we retire? We don't have to meet until 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, just the way things have been going. I don't know if I want to eat there though now.
Well,
just saying.
Wait for the French fries. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go and get a beer. I mean, the beers will be sealed and make sure it comes in a bottle. That way, it hasn't been tampered with.
In a place that looks as swank as this should have a separate bar from dining, so they won't give us a hard time.
Right, and think about. Remember what Jenny was saying about where Dr. Finley met his wife?
No.
Does that ring a bell to anybody else? Because he.
Oh yeah, it was.
He went up into the mountains and joined some kind of cult.
Oh, that's right.
And if this is supposed to be their food, this culture from the Himalayas, it might not just be the wife; it might be the group of them that have come over here.
Yeah, and also Finley needs a way to make a living that's off the radar. Presumably, he's not practicing pharmacology at the local university, given that he's missing, possibly dead, or criminal for what happened in Southern California.
Right. All right. Let's go on in. I could use a Molson.
All right. So you go into the bar entrance to the restaurant, and it's pretty fantastically designed. I mean, it's all very Asian looking. There's a bar. There's a bartender. Now the bartender looks a little odd. He's obviously Asian. He's bald. And he is rather short. So he's got some sort of stool, because you keep seeing him stepping up onto the stool and stepping off again back behind the bar in order to talk to people and serve them drinks and stuff like that. Do a spot hidden on him.
God, they get worse and worse. No.
34. Normal success.
98.
Okay.
Second 98 I rolled today.
Well,
Woo!
the noise and the noise and the atmosphere and all of the decorations and the smell of Chinese food distracts you all. Dr. Ethan.
I got a success.
Oh, you did.
Yes.
I got an extreme success.
Oh, you did. Okay. Well, then, Dr. Desmond and Dr. Ethan and Dr. Leash. You can see the bartender talking to the customers and ordering things. And if you're not mistaken, are his teeth pointy? Like fucking shark's teeth.
Delisha, those look like they're filed down, or is that metal? What the hell's going on?
They look like they were filed down, like the.
I'm gonna order a beer and give him a substantially large tip.
Okay.
$10 just to see if he gets a nice smile or something to get a better look at it.
Okay. That's exactly what happens. He gets you a beer, and he gives you an uncomfortable, wicked little grin as he does this. But definitely, he's got zigzaggy teeth. They're filed down.
I'm gonna question him about it. I can't let that pass.
Okay.
Be like, hey, buddy,
Yes, sir.
not to. I mean, that's really cool. Is that like a punk rock thing, or?
Oh, you mean my teeth?
Yeah, that's awesome.
He says it's a tribal thing from where I come from.
Where are you from? That's fascinating.
We're from northern China, up in the Himalayas. He's got a heavy accent. I can't do a.
Like
Right.
Tibet, or is it actually China?
No, it's the China side. Yeah. I am a chocho.
That's what I was gonna. Is that a
We are what you call refugees.
That's where I've heard that name. Didn't you guys like get grant money to open up some restaurants?
Oh yeah, that's later. But yeah, we had to escape from the Himalayas. There were other Chinese government was trying to kill us, to wipe us all out.
What, like just genocide? Because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
were you an anti-communist or what?
yeah. We're not communists or atheists.
Right, of course. And you guys are Christian?
We have our own religion. It's like kind of like Buddhism.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It's like yeah, they were hunting us down, killing us all. So we managed to escape to the United States. And now we are not just going to take your money and your food. So we are entrepreneurs, as you say.
That's a like outstanding story, man. I mean, good. Best of luck in your endeavors.
Dr. Liege, Dr. Flora, actually all the rest of you do spot hidden.
Is he wearing a name tag, by the way?
No.
85.
Second
Mine is-
success in a row.
Okay.
It's the best rolls I've had forever, and I'm just seeing things.
Desmond, you got an 02. What did you get, Dr. Leash?
I succeeded by 1.
Okay.
Which, yeah.
Well, Dr. Desmond, as you're standing there, did anybody else get an extreme success?
No, I got definitely a failure.
Desmond, Dr. Flores, as you're standing there and you're sort of listening to this conversation and you're sort of looking around, you notice there's a place on the wall, not behind the bar, but a place where customers would have access to. And it's like a window. It's a round window, and there are strange Asian-looking sea creatures going around the window. And there is this aqua blue light shining out of it. And you've noticed a couple of people walk up and laugh and sort of, as they're looking through this window. And, they laugh like boys will laugh, and they eventually walk away.
And we're talking a large portal window?
Not this
larger.
But it's not facing you. It's facing kind of sideways from where you're standing. You just notice people keep glancing in there.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see the mermaids. So I'm going to walk over there and have a look.
And that's exactly what you see. You see a girl dressed in a mermaid costume. Obviously, she can go up to the top and sit on a shelf, but occasionally she'll dive down and swim around underwater, and it's the illusion of a mermaid.
And she's smiling prettily,
Oh yeah,
and her eyes are open underwater. Is she pretty?
yeah. But I mean,
It's okay.
average pretty. She has long red hair.
Long red hair, like Ariel. Can I see her knees flex in her tail costume?
Yeah.
Can I see the seam between her actual skin and the tail costume?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a costume. You can see the zipper.
Is she wearing clamshells?
Shall I be provocative and say no? She's topless. Yeah, she's wearing clamshells. It's a family restaurant.
They could be painted on clamshells too. You could thread the needle.
But since you're asking so intently, do a spot hidden for me. Another one.
It would be like 5 in a row. 72. Yeah.
No.
And it's not, that would be a lot of luck to push to.
Dr. Lees, you have been, you noticed Desmond go over and look. So what do you do?
I'll saunter over there.
Okay.
What'd you find? Oh, that's entertaining.
Mermaid act. Sometimes they have oxygen tanks like stashed in the rock so they can swim over and take a puff and swim back out. Is she out bubbling?
Yeah. Dr. Lees, do a spot
To a
hidden.
spot hidden.
Oh, it's a double odd 6 right there.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You notice everything that Desmond's noticed. That she's wearing a costume, obviously with a zipper on it. She has a tattoo, and it's a circle with like a rose in the middle of it, and you can't quite remember, but you think you've seen that tattoo before somewhere.
Hey, Desmond, you see that? Have you seen the tattoo that she's got?
No, the water's colored. Where is it on her?
It's right above her butt.
It's a tramp stamp.
We'll be calling this tramp stamp soon, I think. Circle the rose. Did we see that on the biker bar in San Daniel?
I can't place it. I know I've seen it before, but
I think that would be a memory trigger. You think you saw it on one of the chicks that was on the motorcycle.
Right. Our gang friends.
And as you recall, she was she had long red hair as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's well, I haven't got
I'll wave and then head over to
I'm sorry, you'll head over.
Yeah. I'll head over to where Heather's sitting and make sure that she's conveniently facing away from anyone that might recognize her.
What's that? Oh, and when he explains it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Look away from the car.
Was it Ethan and I who were in the back of the truck?
Pretty much everyone.
We were all in the back except for Heather and what's his name?
Yeah.
Jadik's assistant.
Yeah.
Guy.
Right. So
Flakes.
Let's. I'd like to get a beer and from Mr. Scary Chocho. Everybody have a look at the mermaid lady. I don't know if we've seen her before, but there's a possibility.
Oh, you do notice that there are other members of the Chocho tribe working here. In fact, the whole staff.
And they're all small?
They're all short. They're all bald-headed.
And do they all have the teeth filing?
From what you can see, you're not sure if the women do or not.
Okay, and the mermaid girl who's swimming, does she appear to be one of them as well?
No.
Might her red hair be real?
What's that?
Is there a chance that her red hair is natural?
Yes, yeah. It looks like her real hair. She looks like she's just an employee. And she's a white girl. She's not a. She looks like once you think about it, she looks like a biker chick.
Right.
She's just not in biker uniform right now.
And the flower in the circle, is it a rose?
Yes, it's a rose in a circle. There might be some writing on it, but you can't tell. It's distorted looking through the window.
If we end up speaking to law enforcement, I'd like to see if that's a recognized sign of any kind. If we end up speaking to law enforcement.
Yeah.
How unlikely as that is.
Knock on wood.
I'm going to. Was the restroom near the front of the establishment, or was it in the back?
Yes, it's near the front.
In the front. I'm going to excuse myself, and instead of going to the restroom, I'm going to go out and see if I can spot where the employee parking lot is.
Okay, it's in the back.
Is there a lot of bikes there?
No.
Nope. Any bikes? No bikes. Okay. Come back in. Hopefully.
Dr. Mills, any bikes?
No. So her, well, I'm assuming her compadres aren't hanging out here with her.
Yeah, she might get picked up after hours, or maybe she's driving something warmer here in Toronto, although at the moment it doesn't seem necessary. I'm, casting my eyes around behind the bar. Is there anything like an employee roster?
No, nothing that you can see.
Is there a liquor license?
Yes.
And in whose name is it?
Give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
See, I should have been a detective.
Yeah.
But the beer's good. How's the food smell?
It smells delicious. Liquor license is under the name Madeline Finley.
Madeline Finley. Bing bong.
Well.
Hey, Dirt.
Does she have to post an address or other contact information?
No.
Just a license number.
Right.
I'll have to find out tomorrow whether that gives us any information legally here. I'd love to meet him again. He was a real charmer.
Yeah. He liked you.
Oh, I would it'd be great to see you twist his arm a little bit more, perhaps all the way off.
Given how I feel about being trapped in a cave shitting in a bucket for a few weeks by the monster that he created, might find a little extra flex for that.
I suppose that's fair.
All right.
I wonder if there's any National Geographic magazines or any type of Asian culture books or something that would have stuff about the Chocho.
That's what I was thinking. We definitely need to research them and see what their belief system is.
Yeah, it might be a library morning. National Geographic's good idea. Also, any lefty publication is likely to talk about the oppression of these people being forced to flee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might be lefty or it might be right, depending on whether it's the oppressive communists or the Red Menace, but either way.
Yeah.
There are both male and female staff, though, of the Chocho.
Yes.
And the ladies are not bald.
Correct.
They have black hair.
Yes.
That's straight.
Straight black hair.
Do any of them have visible bodily decoration? Do they wear earrings, nose rings, tattoos?
Nothing that you can see.
Just the very friendly smile.
Mm-hmm. But I should say that all Asians have slightly different features, obviously, from one another. And there is something unpleasant, you would almost say, about the proportions in their faces. Their eyes are a little bigger. Their noses are a little too small. Their heads are very round. You wouldn't mistake them for Japanese or Chinese under normal circumstances, and they're much darker.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I always forget what the former classifications for little people are. Dwarves had what we call normal proportioned limbs, and midgets were shorter limbs, or the other way around.
I think it's the other way around.
Does the Chocho staff seem a little diminutive or kind of lanky? They
seem fairly in proportion, though maybe a little more squat. Mm-hmm. The bartender definitely has muscles. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't look like, they sit around all day. They probably work hard for a living.
How small are they?
I'd say the average is probably, 4 to 5 feet. They're quite a bit shorter than you guys are. Which, for a lot of indigenous tribes, you might just say it's nutrition.
Yeah.
Although their food smells delicious. You guys haven't eaten anything yet.
No.
You're muted.
It just might.
Yeah, mountain people can be shorter and wider in general too. It just is more efficient. I'm going to have a glance at the menu. Is there seafood on it?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of food on it.
That's funny for the Himalayas.
It's probably been a little Americanized or Canadianized for Western.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, and there are river fish too. I mean, if they're eating squid, it's oceanic. But
does anything say mother's milk? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Coming from you, that's not the funniest thing, Dr. Carlisle.
Yeah. Special drink.
Yes, the pink lassi, they call it. Mother's mango milk.
And yeah, everything is advertised, though mostly as Chocho cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps that's why it suddenly is popular. Everybody, all the rich people are very interested to know what the difference between this and regular old Chinese food. Or so the place is packed.
All right. Well, yeah.
We'll have to come back.
I go order like something off the appetizer menu. Small
Okay.
portion.
Yeah, some strange exotic sort of rolls
Yeah.
come to you, and they're delicious.
Now, looking around, is there like the decorations and things in the restaurant? Are there anything like ornamental weapons?
No. The predominant colors are green, black, and gold.
Okay.
There's you said there was a neon dragon outside. Is there more dragon themed stuff in here?
Yeah.
Did the dragons have chocho faces?
No, they have
Longer snouted dragon.
I don't know if they're traditional Chinese dragons or not. There's lanterns, there's statues.
Flags, shrines.
Actually, I take that back, Margaret. Since you said it, I didn't realize this. I didn't find this little piece of info, but there are throwing spears that are arranged, in fans on the walls. Do a spot hidden.
That's a 17, which is going to be a hard success.
Well, you notice that the spots where the metal spear, which is elongated sort of spear head, attaches, there's metalwork, fancy metalwork, and they look like octopuses that are sort of wrapped around the shaft, and then the blade comes out of it.
Himalayas, they don't border an ocean. Look at this. How peculiar, culture-wise.
Yeah.
Why would their ceremonial stuff involve cephalopods?
Yeah, that's some sort of ancient race memory kind of action right there. If the Chocho are American people historically.
How stylized is the octopus?
Pretty stylized. It doesn't look like it was done by a master craftsman. It looks like it was done by a more primitive people.
Could it be a spider we're misunderstanding?
Possibly.
It has eyes. The figure of the octopus.
Yes.
Does it have little
Suckers?
suckers? Yeah.
Yeah, that you don't see. You're seeing what look like tentacles, maybe, but
yeah,
they could be.
That could just be from my experience skewing my perception of things.
Yeah, it's either an octopus or a spider or something like that.
Yeah.
Neither of which is terribly comforting.
Yeah. Now, how tall was this building? Was it just one floor?
It's just one. Oh no, it's 2 stories high.
2 stories. Now, does it look like the some restaurants are 2 stories and like they'll have eating on the second story? Is this?
There is eating on the second story. There's like maybe a larger room up there, but you can also see that the probably the main body of the building that's 2 stories is where the kitchen and the tank for the girl would be. She's got to have some way to get out, which would have to be up.
Right. Yeah. So like,
and there may be rooms or offices or whatever up there.
Right. So I asked the barkeep. I'm like going, so do you guys have like a party room here?
Oh yeah, we have a party room in the back.
Oh, in the back? No. Okay.
Yeah, it's being used right now though.
Oh, it is. Okay. How much does that run? And because we're kind of looking, but I don't want to even bother checking it out. It's going to be too high.
It's I don't know what would be good. $7 an hour.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty good. Yeah. Too bad. Maybe we'll come back and check
But
it out.
you need to book it like a week in advance.
Oh, that's understandable, especially if you got a big group coming. Oh, okay. Mind if I look around? I just want to. You got a fascinating restaurant.
Well, yeah, don't bother the people.
Oh, of course not. No. I'm going to wander out of the bar and go up the steps.
Oh, you're going to go up to the second floor?
Yep.
It's what you'd expect. There's restrooms up there, and there's doors that you're not supposed to go through. But there's more dining area.
Okay. Nothing to grab your eye.
Less people up there than down below.
All right. Okay.
Filling up.
I feel like there are two kinds of non-public doors in restaurants and bars. Some of them are kitchen and service doors, and some of them say employees only and don't have windows in them.
Right.
The kitchen service doors pretty much always have windows in them to prevent people from bashing each other. Yes?
I was just going to say there would be a liquor storage, there would be a dry storage, there would be freezers, there would be,
Or you think that would be back in the kitchen area, though?
It's also possible that they've got a basement. You don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Booze is probably downstairs.
Yeah.
Do any of the employees only doors look like, do they suggest obviously that there's office space? Different kind of door, different kind of wood, different kind of plaque. Nothing's done.
Not really.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm ready to face Madeline Findlay anyway, but
yeah,
I'd like to know if she's here. If they're here.
Mm-hmm.
If they have crystals.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So, is there anything else, or do you eat some food and then?
Yeah, my appetizer on top of the gravy with fries is good. I'm going to take a to-go menu.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a couple of those and see if we can translate anything.
All right. So let's assume you're leaving. You left your.
The mermaid's still there when we leave.
Yeah, she's still there swimming around.
I just want to ask the bartender one last question before I leave.
Okay.
Do you is there a Chocho language, or do you speak a dialect? Is that a Chinese dialect?
We have our own language, yeah.
And it's completely separate from Chinese or
Correct,
Mandarin.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
most of us know Chinese too, and
Right.
we're learning English. Some of us.
English is great. All right, thanks.
Hard language.
Very hard. I throw another $10 down, and
All right.
Well, I'll ask him. So, is swimming not very popular in your culture? Because I see you have some outside help. It looks like for your.
You like our mermaid?
Yeah, I've seen some stuff like that before. I always find it kind of fun.
Yeah, she's just for show. We don't have real mermaids where we're from.
No, well, that's a shame.
Anything else? All right. So you guys had to park. You parked a little ways down the street. There are a few people walking about. You guys are heading towards your car. Everyone do a spot hidden.
06.
87.
Ooh, nice. I'm rolling like I was rolling earlier.
Yeah, it's going to work its way
Is that
all
a
the way
spot
around.
hidden?
Yep.
Normal success for me.
Okay. Well, it sounds like Dr. Margaret got a really good one. Dr. Margaret, as you guys are walking, there is a moment when you are passing an alley that's leading away to the side, and you hear a noise. And as you turn and look down the alley, you can see maybe 50 feet from you, there is a cab that's parked, and the door opens. You see the movement. You can't see any details. It's somebody very dark and somebody cloaked. There's some rather sharp movements from this person, and then you see them slam the door and start to move away in the other direction down the alley, and the car horn starts blasting. And just constantly going.
And they're just walking away?
Yeah.
So it sounds like they didn't pay for their cab. Where did they go?
Well, it's not it's just a solid honk, and it's not stopping.
They killed the cabbie.
I'm gonna run over there.
I'm not gonna let my girl be by herself, so I'm gonna join her. Come on, boys.
What's going on over there?
There's this hooded figure got out of the cab, and it sounds like the guy's just laying on the horn.
And did you say the cab was moving?
No, it's just sitting.
No, it stopped. So yeah.
Did we see the figure?
You saw a figure, but it was dark.
I did.
Can one of us or two of us follow the figure and the other group go to the cab?
Sure.
I'll follow the figure.
So
I'm running to the cab.
Okay.
I'll go with Ethan.
It's an alley, though, so presumably the figure is not running. Or it's running. It's running in the opposite direction from us, is what you're saying. Not
correct.
Across the alley, but down the alley.
Down the alley, right.
Right. And is the alley at the back of the restaurant?
No, it's a couple of blocks. I mean, it's not right next to it, but it's within a block or two.
Okay.
Who's going after the guy? Dr. Ethan and Dr. Liege. How are you pursuing? Are you walking? Are you running?
Jog toward,
Okay. You start jogging towards the figure, which you can still see moving. But there's a moment when the figure stops for just a second, and then it begins to run and goes around a corner. And by the time you get to the corner, it's gone. You don't know whether it turned another corner or it went up a fire escape. You hear absolutely nothing at that point. It could have gone any direction.
Crap.
Now you had to run past the cab in order to do that. Dr. Margaret, you run up to the cab with Desmond and Heather, and you can see through the closed door that the cabbie is hunched over and his head is against the wheel.
Sir, is it unlocked?
Yes.
I'm going to open the door.
You open the door, and what you realize is that the cabbie has been disemboweled. His bodily organs are laying on the floor in front of him. There's blood everywhere.
Sanity check.
Don't touch it.
I passed.
I did not.
If you pass, still do a 1d4.
Yeah.
Not Heather.
No,
Heather,
I
you
didn't.
do a 1d6.
I only lost 1 point. All right.
4.
All right. You got lucky.
I know.
And Desmond, were you there also with them? Oh, you're muted.
I did run up. I did see her open the door. I passed my sanity check, and I rolled a 1.
Okay.
That's okay. I didn't get that much back during
You guys are kind of inured to
the human body.
Yeah.
Yes, you can tell immediately that this must be the Toronto Ripper, another victim.
Right. Well, I'm turning since I've held my gorge in and running back down the alley for a payphone.
I'm going to be in shock. I don't think I'm going to scream, though.
Realize that the horn is blasting, and now you can hear you can see people's lights turning on. You know people are going to start coming any second.
Right. Well, I'm looking for him. I was like, we need a phone.
Okay. Well, Desmond ran down to the payphone.
And it probably has whatever the 1991 Toronto emergency services number built in.
Yeah.
Well, this is Toronto in the restaurant section. I'm sure there's people everywhere. There's not like a beat cop or anything walking around, or.
Well, very quickly, other people start to gather. Within just a couple of minutes, police show up, and they, of course, come up to you all. And by this time, Dr. Carlisle and Dr. Leash, what are you going to do?
Before I left the alley, I wanted to take a really good look, see if there's any footprints, see if there's anything out.
Do a spot hidden for me.
I mean, I have tracking too, so I don't know if that would help. 23. That is a hard success on the spot hidden.
You don't find anything.
All right, just a shot in the dark, you know.
But you now see back behind you down the alley, you see that all this commotion is now going on.
After that, I'll head back to them. But
you hear Margaret go, "Oh,
that was Betsy."
Although, yeah, I gasped a little bit. But Heather seemed a little more shocked than I was, but maybe she experienced it a different way.
I'm going to go sit down on the and lean up against the wall. Yeah, that one definitely was rough.
Okay. The police arrive. Let me give you just a couple of minutes. Do you want to do anything before the police arrive as far as snooping?
We should search.
Look in the cab.
Look, check the back seat. That's if he was a passenger, that's where he'd be.
Wait. Fingerprints.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Margaret, do a spot hidden.
And her fingerprints would be there. She discovered the bodies.
Yeah, a 45 is a pass.
As long as they're not around the cab driver's throat, we're okay.
Or in the back seat.
Just all up in his guts. I'm sorry, officer. I don't know where I got this knife from.
It was weird.
What you can see is his cabbie license. Because it's strapped to the thing. You can see his name is Ken Stewart.
Sorry, Ken.
So the police are going to question you. Obviously, you tell them everything that you saw, or do you?
Yeah, I don't have a reason not to.
Yep. As good a visual description of the perp as I
He was in a cloak, and it was dark, and they were moving away from me.
All right. They ask you for all of your information, your names, your where you live, obviously, where you're staying in Toronto. And they ask you to please not leave Toronto for at least 48 hours. And if you need to, contact the police beforehand, because you guys are witnesses.
Right.
They might need more testimony from you.
Yes, yes, of course. However we can help. Oh, it's just so awful.
And they say sorry and please.
Right, sorry. And we're trying to, the police department is working very hard to see what this is all about. Sorry, Sean, sorry. But anyways, after that, you know, they detain you for about an hour to go over everything, and there are photos taken and everything, you know, of the crimes.
Just talking to us in the alley or on the street outside the alley. They didn't take us downtown.
No, they haven't taken you downtown, and
Are we
they've
close enough to see any of the like evidentiary work they're doing?
yeah, they come
Because
in.
I'm wondering if the flash photography or something is going to give us, was something smeared in blood on the windscreen? Was there something left on the passenger side door? Is there anything? Because we're not going to get, we don't have access to these police, but we are on at the crime scene while they light it up.
Right. You don't. You see what they're doing normally. Nothing stands out as unusual. They're not finding anything, but you do think they're doing a fairly thorough job. Obviously, at this point, they're really trying to catch this ripper.
Right. And this should be helpful because it's the first one where the incident occurred on site.
Right, literally minutes after it took place.
Tom, how tall was the figure I was chasing? We were chasing, I should say.
I'd say he looked about average for a guy.
He wasn't 5 foot tall.
No, maybe 6 foot tall. It was hard to tell because he had a cloak on.
He wasn't Chocho small, is what I'm getting.
No, he wasn't a little Chocho guy.
Okay.
Unless sometimes
maybe it was two of them.
It was two Chochos. I had to say thought. It was Chocho stack.
Yeah.
When you say cloak, I don't know exactly. Do you mean a cape with a hood? A cape with a cowl?
It's hard to tell. It was very dark, so maybe it was just a trench
blanket
coat.
over him? A trench coat? Yeah,
Trench
okay.
coat,
We didn't get a real silhouette at any point.
not really.
We got a blurring shape and the sound of feet. And the sound of feet were
Normal.
clop, clop, clop.
Yeah. Sounded like
They
he was wearing hard bottom shoes.
It's a terrible way to run. Somebody should warn him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, now I was ready for bed, and now I want a nightcap at the hotel. Because my nerves
Were there, before we leave, were there any missing organs?
You don't know.
too messy to tell is the upshot, right? It's just a big spillage.
Probably not anything that the police would share with you at this point.
Unless before they arrive, you want to start digging through their guts. Like, no, we're innocent. No, don't worry about
Three of
this.
us saw the corpse with the door open, which means the overhead light is on. Was the rib cage open?
Yes.
Okay. So that it
this guy was torn open, cut open.
And they are sharp injuries.
Yeah, his throat was also cut.
It's not. It does look like claws. It looks like blades.
Yeah, maybe.
Or very sharp claws, but not, wrenching, but slicing, cutting.
Right.
Yeah. So we know more than we knew. The papers know. We know that he's really. They're not just being sliced open like a pig. Yeah. Initially, they're being rent asunder.
Yeah, the Ripper is a good name.
Canadian whiskey is supposed to be pretty good, right?
It is.
It's hit or miss.
Comes with
I guess blends are, right?
Yeah.
I think Sean's told me that there's a really good Canadian whiskey, but they don't export it. So I'm like, well, then screw it. Not that good.
Caribou Crossing's a good one. That's
Yeah.
probably the best Canadian I've had.
Well, before we leave Chinatown, we did come here to go by Dundas Street. We still haven't done that. We got distracted.
Yeah.
Well, what we were looking for on Dundas Street came to us.
Yeah.
A live crime scene. I'll see Dundas by daylight. Let's get to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So you head back to the hotel. And what do you want to do? You should get a drink.
Yeah, hotel.
Suppress the urge to panic.
Yeah.
That's number one on the list.
I don't want to. I think we know we have to reserve the endurance chant for extreme circumstances, but I think we need to work on some sort of group calming mantra because we're going to see more. We just got here.
We just got here and we already let something get away.
I have a question for you, a technical question. The endurance chant. Dr. Flores, you had the original copy, yes?
Yes.
Did you have the original copy with you at Jenny's?
Jenny retrieved all of our possessions.
We made the copies, though.
Right. What I'm asking is if Desmond made a copy and brought the copy, or if he just kept the original in his pocket, in which it's gone.
We had, I bet we actually specified that we put something in safekeeping in the hotel.
Okay.
Because we were concerned about that and we wanted to carry copies only.
Yeah.
Now the question is that back at in San Damiel?
Oh, we didn't leave without that.
Okay.
We should probably specify that we make more copies, but
I'll accept that. I'll accept that then.
And I was under the impression that Desmond also brought the book with him too.
To study? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the second copy of what I think is a new spell. My commitment to learning more to salvage my ass is currently greater than my fear of learning more. Especially since the Dark Mother is the source of the endurance spell, and I know that she's secretly.
She's a good person.
Well, she's intrinsic to the universe as we know it, and worthy of respect and worship. Also fear. Margaret.
I want to pick up in as it goes along, Latin for Dummies, so I could start teaching it myself. So
that's one that probably doesn't exist because Latin's a tricky language.
Oh, I'm sure it's also a very bad way to use magic.
Oh, definitely.
Please turn me into the toilet of the eternal. Oh, I didn't decline that correctly.
It's Leviosa.
Yeah.
Why is all this magic not written in English?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Almost like the people who wrote it don't speak English.
So you go back to your hotel, you have yourself some drinks,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately you probably retire for the evening.
Yes.
Next morning, when you wake up, if you flip on the TV, of course, everyone's talking about last night's horrendous thing.
Okay, are we mentioned in the news report?
Not by name, but there's a photograph that's got you guys in it.
They know. Oh,
Got my picture.
Wouldn't we have asked to remain anonymous?
Oh,
they didn't say our names.
You don't know who was taking pictures or.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cops didn't give any. No decent cop gave them any names, but they're paparazzi.
And you guys are away. You guys are up early, and there's a knock on your door at 7 a.m.
Now we're sharing a suite.
Um,
I would think we'd have at least two doors between maybe the two ladies, the three guys. I don't know.
Yeah, something. Yeah, two different rooms.
Right, but definitely not alone.
But at the same time, you guys, your doors are both knocked on.
Looking through the peephole.
There's some police there.
Opening the door.
Rather see police than many other things.
Yep.
All right.
True.
Good morning, officers.
Altogether, there are 2 detectives and 4 uniformed officers. And the lead detective is Detective Marcel. And he says, I'm sorry to have awakened you so early, but if you don't mind, I need you to come down to the station and answer a few questions for us this morning.
Of course, so we're not in any trouble, right?
Just come down to the station and we will talk.
Will you have coffee?
We have coffee at the station.
All right, that sounds good. Okay.
All right.
The demeanor of these 6 parties? I mean, it's a large party for a conversation.
Hard to read. They're pretty good at controlling their emotions, but they stay there. They're waiting for you.
Well, if one of us chooses to stay here, will we be brought in handcuffs?
If you resist, yeah, probably.
No, I don't mean physically. Like, no, I'm not gonna go.
We need you to come. We need to question you. I'm sorry. You are witnesses to a murder last night.
Now, here's what we didn't research before we left California. Parts of Canada are still like New Orleans under Napoleonic law, I think, but parts aren't. In the U.S., you can say, "Am I being arrested?"
Right. That's what I was getting at.
And if not, then I don't have to go with you. Am I being detained? And if so, under whose authority? And so on. But I don't know the questions to ask in Toronto. And we don't really want to get on the bad side of the authorities. So I guess all I'm going to say out loud is we're happy to assist in your inquiries. We have a very important meeting at 2:00, and I'd like your assurance that we'll be able to make that meeting.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't take anywhere near that much time.
Then I have no objection.
Okay. All right.
Like it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good spot to break. Because the torture and interrogation.
Yes, of course.
Right.
They're gonna bring us to their special cave prison, and it's like, no.
We are going to feed you subpar croissants.
Yeah.
See just how bad your palate can be. All right. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, Brian Daly, Keith Craig, Jason Melanchok, and David Gassaway, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 5 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved in the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.